Hello, Beez Blade'ers. Welcome back to the channel and welcome newcomers to the channel. First, before I do anything, thank you to my members, thank you to my subscribers, and thank you to my patrons on Patreon. You guys are making this thing just awesome. I really appreciate you guys. And if you're interested in the channel membership, you can hit the join button. It'll tell you all about it. All right. So I have another $28 knife from Amazon, from Sitivien, and we're going to get right in it. And to unbox it, I'm going to use this Sitivien St102. And if you haven't seen my video on this bad boy, it's just a couple videos back. Go watch it. You talk about an awesome gift for someone, or if you're wanting, pretty much, it's like a QSP Penguin, but a little bit bigger handle, and drop shutty action, like unbelievableness. But let's get into the one we're here for, right? Got this big old package and a little bitty box. All right, here we go. Are you ready? Here we go. The Sitivien St102 folding knife. Camping, hunting, survival, all that good stuff. Let's get in here and see what this one looks like. Telling you what, these knives, I mean, for 28 bucks, D2, and they're just, holy cow, the drop shut is just freaking awesome on these things. So, I got the jade, and you get this little piece of weird stretchy cloth with them, and that's about all that comes in the box. That's it. That's all she wrote. That is all we got. Now, here you go. Here's what it looks like. Ooh, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Another one that I can maybe RIT dye. What do you think about that, huh? Put a little RIT dye in there. So this is 28 bucks, and this is the St102. And boy, it's hard to get a good idea. I don't know if I'll be able to show you guys what the texture looks like. It has a good texture, has a good feel to it. A little on the slick side. Let's see what the blade looks like. Ooh, look at there. Would you look at it? Look at that. That's pretty nice looking swedge we got going on. And whoa, look at that tip on that sucker. Wow, not a splinter getter. This dude has a serious tip going on. Let's go from one end down to the other and check it out. See what it looks like. Man, look at that. Look at that satin grind. Let me wipe this bad boy off. Don't want to get that goop on everything. A little bit of oil. A little bit of oil. But we'll go right down, and man, that is a nice looking grind. Nice looking grind. There's this Sitivien logo. And there's your pivot. Up here you can see a little bit of that texture. Give you a little bit of texture vision. It's kind of hard to get the color in there without a little bit of shadow. What do you think, huh? What do you think? It's pretty cool. I like these liners. I like that the liners are not inset. Whenever I have G10, I prefer the liners not be inset because then you feel the sharp edges of the G10, and I don't like that. Has G10 back spacer. And there's your deep carry pocket clip. Couple little mushrooms in there, but ooh, look. The pocket clip is inset, so it's not going to grab your pocket. I think we're going to be A-okay on that. Super strong pocket clip, and it is not reversible. No lefty love there. Going all the way around, and we'll look on the inside of this. We're going to take this bad boy apart here in a minute, and while we're at it, let's check out and see what our lockup is. Looks like, I'd say about 30%. Yeah, somewhere around there. Around 30-ish. And oh, this one's going to be smooth too. Oh my goodness, it's going to be smooth. All right, so let's get the specs real quick. All right, guys, let's weigh this puppy, and then we'll get the specs in less than 60 seconds. I'm going to guess, it feels like a good 4. I'll just stick with 4 like I did on the last one. Ooh, 3.925. I think that is the closest I've ever come to guessing one. Yeah. 0.925, 0.93 ounces. All right, you ready for the spec? Ooh, good action. You ready for the specs in 60 seconds? Here we go. So your total length from a tip to tip is 8 inches. You got a nice drop point blade style. You have D2 blade, you got satin grind. Well, yeah, you could say that if you wanted to. Satin finish. Total blade length 3.42 inches, and your sharpen length is pretty much the same at 3.42. Your blade width is 0.97 inches, and your blade stock thickness is 133 thousandths from here to here, and behind the edge was pretty consistent between 12 and 13 thousandths. So it has a really nice tall flat grind going on, pretty good geometry happening there, and you have G10 scales, and you can kind of tell there's a little bit of texture going on there. I might get a flashlight here in a minute, see if I can show you guys some of that texture. A little bit of that texture vision. The handle width is 0.88 inches. Handle thickness is 0.52 inches. And this is a flipper opening method, I guess you'd want to say, and it has cage bearings, which we're going to see when we take it apart. Boom, there you go. And if you're new to the channel, I always put links in the description where you can get this knife. And like I said, it's running about 28 bucks at the time of this video's posting on Amazon. And there'll be a affiliate link. If you want to support Beez Blades, you can click on that. It doesn't cost you anymore. It just might support Beez Blades a little bit if it qualifies. Let's see how sharp this puppy is. And my experience with Sitivien so far is they come sharp. The action's been good. I mean, for a budget line, these knives have been kicking out of the park in my opinion. Jeez, look at that. Well, what do you think? What do you think? Ripping paper. Yep. Oh yeah, we're sharp. We are definitely sharp. And how, let me back out here just a little bit for you guys and gals. Let's see. Okay, it's rock solid. There's no rocking or blade play or blade anything. It's like solid. Let's see how the action is going to be. But first, I want to see how this goes in and out of the pocket. Let's check that out. Let's see how it goes in and out of the pocket. Yeah, nice and smooth. You have just a tad bit hanging out right there. Did you hear that clip? Nice and easy, and it very breezy. Before I get ahead of myself, let's do some quick size comparisons. Let's put this guy up against the Spyderco Tenacious. So yeah, it's about the same. Pretty close to the Spyderco Tenacious. Here's the Spyderco Manix 2. To put some pricey ones up against the budget one we're showing, here's the Ontario Rat #1. And here's the Spyderco Para 3. Now we get down to some more budget ones. Here's the QSP Penguin. Everybody knows about the QSP Penguin. You gotta know about the Penguin. And here is the Civivi, what is that called? The Baklash. There you go. And how about the Civivi Imperium? Ooh, now we're looking pretty, even looks similar. Let's do one. Here's the Civivi Brazen. Pulled out some Civivis today. And if you guys saw the video on the ST102, the one that kind of looks like the Penguin but bigger, there's the ST102. It's a little bit bigger. So I'm going to lay these bad boys down and give you a real good idea. Oh, that action. I can't wait to get to the action. Man, these Sitivien, I'm telling you what, the action on these puppies is just something else. Something else. All right, I'm going to put these bad boys up here for you. There's a Spyderco Tenacious and the Spyderco Manix 2. You can get a good look. I'm going to put them all pivot to pivot. And here's a couple more. Here's the Ontario Rat #1. The all-famous, infamous Ontario Rat #1. And the Spyderco Para 3. So I'll just put up a whole divvy right here. Now this is, I mean, if you haven't got a QSP Penguin yet, you are probably new to the knife world or you just don't like the design. Here's the Civivi Baklash. Whoosh. Oh, wait a minute, that's Whiplash. Close enough. Here's the Civivi Imperium. Love this knife. Love it a lot. So those look very similar. Of course, probably partly because of the JG10. But you can see a little bit of the kind of looks like a wood grain going on there in the G10. But these blade shapes are kind of similar, but you have a lot more belly going on with this bad boy. A lot more belly. And here's one more. Here's the Civivi Brazen. I was curious what the Brazen was going to look like. So you can see it's a full-size knife. Full-size handle. I bet the ergos are going to be pretty good on it. Let's see how the deployment of this sucker goes. That's what everyone wants to see, right? Is deployment. So let's do the push button. Pretty nice, pretty nice. And it feels smooth. Feels really smooth. All right, here's a little bit of light switch action. Pow, right in the kisser. Yep, there we go. There's another one. Look at that. Brand new, fresh out of the box. And it's drop shutty. My goodness. The action of all these knives that I've been getting, and you know, under 30 bucks. And look at that. I'm seeing all these guys with expensive knives and they have to shake them shut. Look at that. Would you look at it? All right, so let's see. Are we centered? Yes, we're centered. And look at that. This is a tough knife. Wow, that is a big old tip. Just the tip. Wow, that is impressive. All right, let's check out some ergos. Man, that is crazy. The drop shutty is just nuts. This would be another good knife to get for yourself or get for a gift for somebody. It's 28 bucks. I mean, you know, if you're watching this a year from now, it might be a couple dollars more. Prices change, but $28, are you kidding me? So my hand is 4 inches from here to here, 3.5 from here to here, and from the base of my palm to the tip of my middle finger, 7.5. Let's see what it looks like. It's comfortable. There's plenty of room for a large-sized glove hand. I'm feeling the pocket clip, and that's to be expected. Anytime you have a deep carry pocket clip, you're going to feel it, depending upon how you hold the knife. If you hold it farther up in your fingers, or if you hold it back here, you're going to feel that deep carry pocket clip. Ooh, okay, so we have some nice jimping. This jimping is the smaller jimps that I like. I like the jimping. Grabs a hold of your finger. And let's see, for a choil, we do have plenty of room for sharpening before we get right there at the end of my fingernail where the plunge grind is. So you have some room there for sharpening before you get to the plunge grind. I wouldn't choke up with it unless you're doing something really light, like cutting paper, if that's what you do, or opening packages. That'd be easy enough. But you could do, let's see, yeah, you could do some utility cutting too. The belly, it has plenty of belly, but not too much. If you look, the tip is just a little bit higher as far as being parallel with the pivot. The tip's a little bit higher, but yes, you could definitely utility cut. And the tip on this thing is, I'm really impressed with the strength of that sucker. Wow. Nice looking swedge going on. But yeah, that's pretty good. Fidget factor, I wouldn't call it high because there's really no other way to open the knife. You can't pinch it open. That's pretty much it. And the detent is perfect. It's not a knife that you're going to fail easy. I mean, you just barely give it effort, and the detent pops it right out. So good detent going on. And you can dye this whatever color you want. There's also black G10. And of course, there'll be links in the description. And don't forget, guys, there's 10% off KPL Knife Pivot Lube, 10% off White Mountain Knives, and 10% off of Mojave Outdoor. All those are links in the description. So don't forget, in the description of the video, you hit that little V shape if you're on your phone, and it'll show you all the links to knives, knife maintenance equipment, everything that I recommend, and other knives that have been on the channel. So go check them out. All right, so there's the ergos are pretty good. The fidget factor is a little low. You know, there's not a lot of ways to open it, but I mean, that's not the reason to buy every knife. But it is one thing that I enjoy, and you know what? It's easy to fidget just because of that action. Drop shutty action. There we go again. Man, so what do I like less about the knife? I would have to say I'm not getting any sharp spots. The pocket clip, there's nothing I can really do about that. I wish they had, the pocket clip was a reversible, but other than that, you know, for 28 bucks, I don't think I can complain a whole lot. So let's get inside here and see what the inside of this knife looks like. But first, before you forget, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming up and you don't miss the giveaways. And don't forget, on Friday nights at 8:15 to 11:15 is Beez Blades Live at the Hive. Oh, right. Don't want to miss the Beez Blades Live, man. We have so much fun. It is a blast. So many people from the knife community stop in and say hi. We talk about knives and everything else. Who knows? Sometimes you end up talking about peanut butter for 10 minutes. You're like, what? But anyway, I digress. Let's get in here and see what it looks like. Okay, guys, let's get this sucker apart and see what it looks like on the inside. I grabbed a flashlight just to show you a little bit of the texture vision. So there you can see it looks textured, but it's not super textured to the touch. Your thumb, your finger actually grabs a hold of it, but it's not a lot of texture. That looks like more than it actually has. It's not slick. It has a pretty good amount. I myself like a little more texture than that, but that's very subjective. But let's see which side of this sucker. Now, before I do anything, if you don't have a Weehaw bit set, the reason I'm recommending this is because I made the mistake when I got into this, and I ended up buying 4 or 5 different sets on Amazon, and they would strip. These are so tough. Get you a Weehaw bit set. And another thing, when you do, make sure you get the one that starts with T5. I accidentally ordered the wrong set when I first got them and had to return them and get this set. But almost every time you're going to need a T6 and a T8 for most knives these days. I'm sure it'll change. That'd be nice if they just went all to T8s. But something else with this is it has a driver in it you can use. I didn't know about that until I bought it, but you can use that driver. That's something you can use if you have to use a bit on both sides. But there's a link in the description of this bad boy. You can get one for yourself and you will not regret it. And also, something else you see in the knife world is everybody has one of these, not everybody, but so many folks use this little stubby Weehaw driver. And it's really good for breaking those tough screws, not breaking them. You know what I mean? Getting them loose. All right, so let's see if we can get this guy apart. I'm going to try it from the clip side and see what happens. All right, so it's not giving. So I'm going to try it on the show side. Boy, that one's not either. It's not wanting to give at all. Whoa. Houston. Oh, wait a minute. There we go. So we're on the clip side. It was just a little tough, and you got to be careful. Oh, wait a minute. Now it's not wanting to go. Now we have a problem. Are we going to be able to take it apart? Okay. All right. Had me worried there for a minute. It's just really in there. I have the feeling they've used some Loctite. It was a little tough. Oh, yeah, they did. All right, so look here. You can see here where they used they used too much Loctite on it. You shouldn't have to unscrew it that hard. There's just a little bit too much Loctite on there. It's okay, but, you know, it had me wondering, am I doing the wrong side? And I bet this is, yes, it's a, I'll show you here in a second. It's a D-shaped pivot, and that's why it was grabbing a hold so good, so well. Let's get it apart, see what's inside. And you guys definitely go check out my other videos on the other knives that I have on here that are great for gifts. They're under $30 knives. I think, personally, that they are freaking little gems. I think they are just great. And you can go to one of the big online retailers. I don't know if these are available right now, but this thing spins awesome. And it's a great driver. It's CRKT driver. I really like it. It doesn't give me the best leverage when I'm trying to break a screw loose or, you know, get it free. Now these, let's see. Now they're not spinning. All right, let's get this bad boy out. So I like to put my screws up here in the order in which I took them out. All right, you gonna come out of there? Are we coming off of here? All right, let's see. Oh, doing everything on camera. So, got to take the pocket clip off first. There we go. Yeah, he's like, I'm not coming out of there unless you take the pocket clip off. Not going to happen. So, let's get these out of the way. Let's see what this looks like on the inside without losing our screws. It is well lubed. Well lubed. Let me get my rag. All right, we had a little snafu there, guys. I cleaned that off and then continued to do the disassembly, and it was paused. So I'm going to show you exactly what I just did, and you didn't get to see. So we have this scale off. Now I'm going to pop this bad boy off, and this is what it looks like. I've already cleaned it. It wasn't dirty. I can tell you that it was not dirty. The only thing it had on it was a little bit of lube. That's the only thing I cleaned off. I'll show you what it looks like on the inside here. And there's your, see, I've already got it nice and lubed up and looking all pretty. And you do have a little burnt edge going on right there, but I don't think that's going to affect any part of the knife whatsoever. And I'm glad that I had to take it back apart because I didn't put a drop of KPL heavy in here. So what I used, and let me show you the rest of it here. So this is the other side. You can see all the nice milling right there going on. There's your back spacer. And then what I used on these ball bearings, and these I already checked them with a magnet. They are steel ball bearings. You see there, sticking to the magnet. Very nice, very, very nice. I mean, ceramic ball bearings are a little better, but for 28 bucks, that's what your ball bearings look like. Very nice. So let me show you here. Let me show you. I use KPL knife pivot lube. I took alcohol. I took some rubbing alcohol and I put on my microfiber cloth. And then what I did was, you just pop that bad boy out of there, and see, I did get some grime off of there. And the action was already good before I cleaned it. And I bet it's going to be better. I don't know. I didn't get to check it yet, which that worked out too. But you just clean it off with some little bit of alcohol, and you can use a cleaning patch, or you can use one of these, what do you call these things? Microfiber cloth. And then I used a little bit of KPL. There's a link in the description. You get 20% off. This is what a regular bottle of knife pivot lube looks like. And I put a couple drops on the inside of here on both sides. And then what I do personally is I use one of these swabs. You can get these swabs at KPL also. And I put a drop on one side and a drop on the other of the KPL knife pivot lube. and then I spread it around. You don't have to use this tool. You don't have to use it. You can just use the end of this applicator and spread it around. Spread the love. But I do personally. That's just my personal preference. And you can see here, see how this is D-shaped? Where's my pivot? Where's my pivot? There it is. So you can see, I already have this bad boy in there. It's already ready to go. So let's get our blade, set our blade on here. And here's something to show you. See this right here? This is your stop pin. If you're not familiar, and there's a cat here. There's your stop pin. So when you open it, cha-ching. And then when you close it, cha-ching. That's what stops your blade. So I'm going to put this bad boy in here and put a little bit of KPL on it. And I just put a drop on each side. Just a couple. Just a little dab will do you. You don't want to overdo the knife pivot lube. And this bottle is a little rough on the squeezability. I don't know why. It's the only one I have like that. So I'm just spreading the love around. Now something else I'm going to do is your detent ball. If you look here, that's your detent ball. And that's what holds the blade in place when you close it. And right there is your detent ball. So what you're going to do is get you some KPL heavy. Put just one drop of that in there. One drop. That's all we need. Little dab will do ya. Just takes a little bit. So let's put this bad boy back on here. This knife is going back together super easy, guys and gals. And you see here where the D, whoa. Let's get it lined up. You see there where the D-shaped pivot fits into the D shape on the liner there. So everything looks like it's fitting back together really well. Plenty of fingerprints everywhere. And I'm excited. You guys are going to watch this probably on a Saturday. And I'm excited because for me, Friday night is tonight. And it's the live show. And I'm always excited about the live shows. I love the Beez Blades live. Always excited about it. Let's see. Are we lining up? Everything clicking back into place like it's supposed to? Let me double check here. One thing I do is sometimes when I'm doing the video, I'll rush. I just want to make sure everything's going back to where it's supposed to be. And it feels like we're going back well. All right, let's put this bad boy back on there. And something doesn't feel like it's clicking down on the way, all the way for me. I don't know. Maybe it is. Oh, maybe it is. Well, let's find out together. Put the pivot back in. Put the old pivot back in. And I like to put the pivot, or tighten the pivot pretty much all the way down. Just from the start. I'm just going to get it started. Just so I can show you guys what I'm going to do. So I got the pivot started. And then I'm going to put these little T6 screws back where they came from, where they were found. Put them back in there. And a lot of times you need to put your finger on the other side to keep the screw from spinning. I am not tightening this down. I'm just going like this, and just enough to hold them in place, because I'm going to tighten down the pivot first. That's one of the keys to centering a knife that I've discovered that works for me, and it works a lot of times. Maybe if you have more expensive, fancier knives, it seems like some of the fancier, more expensive knives are harder to center. I don't know, because I don't have a bunch of fancy, expensive knives. So let's put this old clip back in. I'm just going to get the screws just started. All right. So there's that. Let's tighten down this pivot and see what happens to the action. Tell you what, these budget knives, I'm loving them. Loving them. You know, people knock them and they say, oh, it's a Chinese knife, and I get comments, and I understand. I totally understand about buying American. But when it comes to knife collecting, you only have so many options when it comes to buying American made. A lot of American designers. Oh, so I tightened the pivot all the way down, and look at this. It's centered, just like that. That easy. It's freaking centered. So now I'm tightening down the other screws. But on that note, and I'm not tightening these down super hard. And something else is get you some Loctite. I check my screws all the time. A lot of people do not. I'm a knife collector. I'm a reviewer. I check them all the time. If they ever come loose, then I use Loctite after the fact. But if you don't take your knives apart all the time or you don't check the screws all the time, get a toothpick. This is what I recommend. Shake this up really good. Get you some thread locker. There's a link in the description. Right to it. It doesn't matter which brand you get, but what matters is that you get medium. Get removable. Do not get red Loctite. You will regret it because you'll never get your knife apart. Or you may, but you believe me, just trust me. Don't get anything but the 242 removable or something very comparable to it. But on the whole Chinese knives things, I mean, most of the American designers have to have their knives made in China. And something else is, I know China used to have a reputation of having bad steel. It's not necessarily the case anymore because the majority of these knives that come from China, we end up having them tested. And China knows that if they send over one steel and say it's this, and it turns out not to be, that Americans will stop buying their knives. So if you go over and watch LTK, Love Them Knives, he will tell you. He gets them tested. So let's see what the action does. All right. So I didn't tighten it down all the way. I was wondering what was going on there. Did I not get the pivot all the way down? Oh, yeah, I did. Okay. All right. So we're centered pretty well. Not too bad. Actually, I'm off to one side a little bit. So I'm going to... Oh, that's what the problem was. I tightened the wrong side. There we go. That fixed it. So it's a little tight. I'm going to loosen it up just a tad. Just a tad. All right. All right, let's see what happens here. Oh, there we go. There's the action we were looking for. Are we still centered? Yes, still centered. Oh my goodness. All right. Okay, we're back, guys. So tell me what you think. What do you think about this knife? It's another Sitivien, under 30 bucks. It's a great gift knife, great budget knife to have around. The action is very smooth, very drop shutty. I mean, it's a pretty good knife. I don't know. You tell me. But let me know what you think. I really appreciate you guys hanging around. And remember, live life in the present, keep a Band-Aid handy, and don't cut yourself.